2017 spring training with Delta Airlines and Delta Dugout. Visit SNY.TV/Delta Dugout for details. Get to Citi Field this Saturday when the Mets play the Twins at 7:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Jacob deGrom hair hat, courtesy of Geico. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Look at the Porsche leaderboard and the innings pitched leaders in the National League. The Nats have 2 of the top 5, including today's starter Tanner Roark, 4th in the National League at over 186 innings pitched. This for a guy who predominantly pitched out of the bullpen last season, but back in a starter's role and having himself a magnificent year. That's the task for the Mets, to overcome Roark and the Nats in the rubber game of the series. Flyover on Air Force Day at Nationals Park. First pitch is coming right up. Family. Dusty is away from the Nationals today, so Chris Spire, who was Dusty's bench coach in Cincinnati for several years and now is his bench coach in Washington, will take over the club for today. There's your Mets starting lineup, brought to you by Geico. Same starting lineup as last night, and that means TJ Rivera again gets a start at second base after his heroics, and maybe just as interesting, Rene Rivera behind the plate as he takes more and more playing time away from Travis d'Arnaud.
Starting pitcher Tanner Roark, going for his 15th win of the season. Last year was put in relief, is now back in the starting rotation and is having a fantastic season. He is 0-2 against the Mets this year, but he's lost 2 tough ones. And defensively, this is a team that's made least amount of errors, 65 errors on the year. A tremendous outfield. Trey Turner showed some really good range out in the outfield. Danny Espinosa was originally a second baseman. He's a shortstop now. He can pick it over at short. And Wilson Ramos, of course, behind the plate, who's always been a thorn in the Mets side.
Jose Reyes to lead it off. Reyes 2 for 8 in this series, but 0 for 5 last night. Shadows just starting to creep into home plate with the late afternoon start. And Roark's first pitch is taken high for ball 1, and we're underway.
And this will be a day of a pitcher's delight when those shadows creep halfway up and between home and the mound.
And it is a bright sunny day, and so the shadows will be an issue for a good piece of the afternoon.
It was a hot day today. It still is hot.
As Dribble Cabrera on deck, then NYN Cespedes, 90 degrees at game time. And Reyes yanks one into right field, and he's got himself a leadoff base hit. So Reyes, after taking an 0 for last night, starts this one with a leadoff single.
Well, it's always good to get Jose on the base paths early. Hanging slider upstairs. Jose stays back. Result, Lina to right field.
Now as Dribble Cabrera had 2 doubles in his first 2 at bats last night, and each time was allowed to steal third uncontested. 24 games since he came back from the disabled list on August the 19th, and Cabrera in that span hitting .372.
He has been phenomenal in driving in big runs and being part of big innings.
Roark can be vulnerable to the stolen base. He's given up 15 this year. It's not Noah Syndergaard territory, but 15 steals. And so Reyes, who has 8 steals in 10 tries, might well try to take advantage. There is a big contingent of Met fans here in the left field corner and behind the left field bullpen.
They have made their presence known too.
I think they shocked the Nationals fans with their "Let's Go Mets" chants, and they are going to be loud all afternoon. Here they are, a sea of blue. Reyes lengthens his lead, and Roark will throw over a second time. Usually tell with Jose when he is in running mode. He gets a little lower, dangles that arm a little more. Not quite the base stealer he was in his heyday, but he can still swipe him.
Well, I think it's important to note that the Mets obviously have something to play for. Every game is an important game for them, and you would think that the Nationals, with the big lead, have nothing to play for, kind of strolling into a division, but they've got a 4.5 game lead on those Dodgers, and they've got to maintain that for a home field advantage, because those 2 teams are going to lock horns.
It's notable that they're playing a day game after a night game today. The Nationals are, as you say, not a lot to play for as far as the division, as Cabrera takes inside, and yet the Nationals have the same starting 8 out there that they had Monday night and last night. They did not give anybody a day off today. Now, part of that is in deference to the teams the Mets are fighting for the wild card. You know, there's a lot of honor among major league managers. If you're playing a team in contention, you want to run your best out there to give everybody else a fair shake.
And I also feel there's no love lost between these 2 teams, Gare. I think what happened last year to this Nationals team has left them bruised and a little pride, wounded pride. And I think that they want to come out here. Remember, the Mets took 2 out of 3 at home the last time, earlier in September. They want to take this series. They don't want the Mets coming in here and taking 2 out of 3 in their backyard.
And I think also, I don't think the Nats necessarily want to see the Mets down the road in the postseason. Possible NLCS matchup. I think they'd just as soon avoid them. That's hit up the middle, a base hit for Cabrera. Reyes pulls in at second, so back-to-back base hits to start the afternoon from Reyes and Cabrera.
And Cabrera just keeps hitting bullets. Boy, oh boy, he is some kind of player. You know, these guys, they play, and you don't, so with the way the league is constructed now with the 6 divisions, you don't see enough of them, and you really have a hard time. Look at that, going out and getting that fastball on the outside corner. Not a bad pitch from Roark. And, you know, you don't get a chance to really evaluate it until you see someone play every day, day in, day out. And Cabrera is a player.
And he's been at his best when the Mets have needed him the most. Now a chance for Cespedes to do some first inning damage. Yoenis has been held in check in this series, 1 for 7. First and second and nobody out, just getting started in D.C. And Roark fires the fastball outside. Connor Roark, 29 years old, out of the University of Illinois, first drafted by Texas in the 25th round in 08. The Nats got him in a deal for Christian Guzman at the deadline in 2010, and he has been a great find for Washington. Trying to find himself right now in this opening inning. And Cespedes flares one on the right side of the infield. Zimmerman shading his eyes. They call the infield fly rule, and that's the first out. So Cespedes is retired, and now Curtis Granderson.
And Granderson is like the Joker in the deck. The way his season has gone, you just don't know what you're going to get. And on any given day, it's been a tough year for him. He's been very productive of late.
And an RBI triple in the game last night. First and second and one out. Three infielders on the right side, and Granderson takes up and in, and it gets away from Ramos, and the runners move up. Looked like a very catchable pitch for Ramos.
It was. Oh, so they got crossed up. They got crossed up.
He was looking for a breaking ball, got the fastball, the worst possible scenario for a catcher. And so the pass ball puts two runners in scoring position. And Roark and Ramos having a very long conversation out at the mound.
You'd think that the umpire would get out there and break that tea party up.
C.B. Buckner is busy cleaning off home plate.
I've seen more and more umpires cleaning home plate with their feet now instead of using the broom. But they don't want to bend over. I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
There's your umpiring crew. C.B. Buckner has the plate. The crew chief Jerry Lane out at second. Scott Berry at first. Hunter Wendelstedt at third. So the Nats are going to play their infield back with the exception of Rendon at third. Second and third and one out. 1-0 to Granderson. With Jay Bruce standing on deck. And Curtis pulls one down to first. That is a foul ball. Took the first base umpire Scott Berry a couple of beats to make a call. 1-1 now to Granderson. Meanwhile, good news for the Mets in St. Louis. Anthony Rizzo's just hit his second home run of the game, and the Cubs lead the Cardinals 7-0 in the ninth inning.
How many home runs for Rizzo now?
31.
I tell you what, I love him.
So after the Cardinals won last night, the Cubs looking to take 2 of 3 in that series and give the Mets some help. Granderson hits one off his foot, a foul ball, 1-2. Your Empire City wild card standings. The Giants lost a horrific game last night. They led 4-1 in the ninth. Ryan Schimpf hit a 2-out, 2-strike, 3-run homer, and the Padres scored 5 in the ninth to beat the Giants. So their lead over the Mets is just a half game for the first wild card.
Look at your Metsies there. The last 10 games, 8 out of the last 10 red hot, breathing.
17-6 over the last 23. 1-2 to Granderson. Reyes walking down the line. And Granderson takes it to his feet. Now, we talked about this last night when Cabrera was at third with Rendon playing way off the line. Now, Cabrera wasn't a threat to steal home, but Reyes is, and he can walk as far as he wants down that line. Nobody's going to stop him. Rendon is 60 feet away.
Well, it's going to put Roark into a stretch mode here. That's all.
2-2 to Granderson. And he takes it up and away, full count. By the way, speaking of the Giants, they're already behind this afternoon, 1-0 as they play in the second inning to the Padres.
I'm telling you, those two teams are in trouble, and the Met team is running on all cylinders.
3-2 coming to Granderson, and Curtis takes a walk, and the bases are loaded. So a really ugly first inning so far for Roark. The Mets have the bases loaded and 1 out. And the struggling Jay Bruce will come to the plate to try and cash in. It's been a difficult road trip. It's been a difficult Met tenure for Bruce. 2 for 21 on the trip, hitting 190 in his 35 games as a Met.
Well, this would be a perfect time to bust out, would it not, Gary? He got robbed last night. He hit a bullet out to right center field. His first time up was run down by Trey Turner, the center fielder.
He's never had a hit against Roark. 0 for 8. And he goes after the first pitch fastball, 0-1. Roark lately has been dominating the right-hand hitters, but having trouble with the lefties, and that really goes against his season. For the year, the lefties are hitting just .219 against him. Reyes again dashing down the line, trying to draw a balk. And Bruce fouls one away, and now it's 0-2. T.J. Rivera, last night's hero, is standing on deck. Bruce, 29 home runs, 91 driven in for the year. Batting with the bases loaded and 1 out. And that's on the inside corner, and Bruce is caught looking at the fastball. And that's the second out of the inning.
Well, this started on the inside corner and was right down the pipe. He's just really struggling here. I mean, this starts out as a strike and breaks right in the middle of the plate.
Meanwhile, Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, just ran out to the mound to talk to Roark, and I'm sure this is with some kind of a scouting report on T.J. Rivera. Now, I'm sure they went over the hitters before the game, but
maybe a reminder.
This is the first time that Roark will be facing Rivera. Now, think about this with Rivera. Most of these pitchers have never seen him before. 45 at bats into his big league career. He has not drawn a single walk. He's been extremely aggressive. And eventually, pitchers are going to be working against that aggressiveness. There's the first pitch breaking ball out of the strike zone. Of course, it's hard to do that with the bases loaded if Rivera is going to be patient enough to take those pitches.
Remember, all 3 base hits last night, 2 ground balls between third and short, and the home run really was between third and short. It was a bullet down the left field line. So he pulled everything last night.
Out the home run on an 0-2 pitch from Melanson in the 10th. Takes this one out to right field. Harper coming toward the line. Reaching, sliding, and he made the catch.
Nice.
Beautiful play by Bryce Harper going into foul territory. He makes a terrific play, and the Mets are cast aside in the opening inning. Battling the sun, battling the sidewall, and Harper sprawling to make that grab and keep the Mets off the board. This series, no rest for Wilson Ramos, the catcher. He's been in there all 3 games. As Robert Gsellman faces the Nats for the 2nd time.
He's ready to roll before we can get those Land Rover numbers out to you.
Trey Turner takes a strike.
You see his numbers there, and a little too many hits, but doesn't walk people, keeps the ball in the ballpark.
And Turner lofts one into left for a leadoff hit. So Turner, who was 0 for 5 last night, has a base hit to start the Nationals' first inning.
And a look at your Metsy defense. Cespedes, of course, with that strong arm, but the compromised quad out in left. The very strong defensive left side of the Met infield with Reyes at third base. Rivera another start at second. And Rivera now, is our understanding, is going to get a lot more playing time is behind the plate.
There's Jason Worth, 2 for 9 in this series. Turner a base stealer at first. Gesellman has not given up a stolen base yet in the big leagues. And Worth takes a fastball off the plate for ball 1. By the way, so Reyes got a hit leading off the first for the Mets. Turner got a hit leading off the first for the Nats. Last night they both went 0 for 5. And I thought that was kind of odd, and I wondered how often do both leadoff hitters go 0 for 5 in a game. Because if a leadoff hitter gets 5 at bats, it means something's going on offensively for his team that day. So I asked the Elias Sports Bureau, and Bob Waterman told me that it's happened 6 times this year in Major League Baseball that the leadoff hitters have both gone 0 for 5. But here's the odd part about that. All 6 times that it's happened have come in the last 14 days. That it hadn't happened all year until the last 2 weeks. And now it's happened 6 times in the last 2 weeks, and twice involving Reyes. In a game last Friday in Atlanta that Gesellman started, he and Ender Inciarte both went 0 for 5. So go figure.
Well, that's where Joaquin Andujar comes in.
You never know. Jason Worth takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1. Daniel Murphy waiting on deck. Gesellman matched up against Roark in New York 11 days ago, and he pitched a gem, allowed 1 run over 6 innings, a 3-1 Met win. His last start not quite as tidy. He gave up a home run to Matt Kemp, and then he got struck for a couple of runs in the 5th. So it was not as tidy a night for him.
Well, they got to him in that 5th inning, Gary. He gave up 4 hits in that inning, a 5th inning, where he gave up the was it 3 runs?
Yeah. He had his debut just a little over 3 weeks ago, coming out of the bullpen in St. Louis. Still just getting his feet wet in the big leagues. He and Seth Lugo have done such a magnificent job filling space in that Mets rotation in the absence of Harvey and Wheeler and DeGrom and Matz. Mets hope to have DeGrom back soon. He's going to throw a bullpen session today, but that's very undecided. 1-2 coming, and it's off the plate to Worth, 2-2. Steven Matz threw a bullpen yesterday down in Florida, so he's getting a little closer.
I have a hunch. Well, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. No one's running away with the wild card. This is going to go down to the last week, if not the last days, Gary.
Well, if anybody has the chance to run away, it would be the Mets, but based on the schedules.
Yes,
but there's nothing guaranteed there either. And Worth takes low and away, and a full count.
Well, we got the Twinkies coming in from Minnesota after this for the weekend. You've got a very game Atlanta Brave team with a lot of fight in them. It was very impressive how they played against the Mets the last series in Atlanta.
Three and 2 to Worth. Turner at first and nobody out. Well, suffice it to say, I mean, the Mets after today will not play another game against a team that currently has a winning record, whereas the Cardinals and Giants have to play each other for 4 games starting tomorrow, which can only work in the Mets' favor. 3-2. Turner runs, and Worth bounces 1 foul.
And that's a series where the Cardinals fly to San Francisco tomorrow for the 4. Well, the Cardinals have played better on the road.
Yeah, it's a final now in at Busch Stadium. The Cubs shut out the Cardinals 7-0 behind John Lester. So the Mets will end this day in wild card position. Now the question is, can they gain ground? Lester, by the way, went 8, allowed 3 hits and struck out 8 for his 17th win. So the Cubs reduced their magic number to 1 for clinching the NL Central. Turner runs, Worth hits a slow ground ball, and that goes foul. So a hard-working at bat for Gesellman here against Worth. So that means the Cubs have clinched a tie for the division title. They were hoping to clinch in St. Louis this week, but they lost last night, and so that went by the boards. But the Cardinals, in addition to their 4-game series with the Giants, they have another series with the Cubs, but by that time the Cubs will have clinched, so you wonder on how many cylinders they'll be operating. So that might work a little bit in St. Louis's favor. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming to Worth with Murphy on deck. Turner runs, Worth strikes out, Rivera's throw, and the tag made by Rivera for the out. Just strike him out, throw him out, double play. Rivera to Rivera, 2 out and nobody on.
Well, Rivera can throw. High fastball. Gets the tag down quick.
You can score it 2-4, or you can score it Rivera squared. So Daniel Murphy will bat with 2 out and nobody on. Murphy's 5 for 10 in this series, but he struck out against Jerry Blevins to end the game last night. Blevins threw him a 3-2 curveball to get him. And in so doing, Blevins registered his first save as a Met, his first since 2012. Murph now has 30 hits against the Mets this year. Since division play began in 1969, there were only 4 players who've had 30 hits against the Mets in a season. Dee Gordon set the record last year with 35, and now Murph joins Andre Dawson and Juan Pierre.
And Murph has a shot to hit over 400 against his former mates.
Hitting .411 right now.
You have to take a serious offer to lose that.
On the inside corner, good pitch by Gesellman to get ahead 1-2.
Murph's going to have a chat with the umpire.
He knows them all by name. Hello, CB. Hello, Daniel. One-two coming, and that one pops him a little further inside. 2-2. So the Cardinals have lost. The Giants just tied up the Padres 1-1 in the 3rd. Game at AT&T Park.
Now we've got the tough shadows working against the hitter.
And Murphy pulls one foul.
Good slider by Gesellman.
Robert Gesellman, 23 years old, from Santa Monica. 13th round draft pick in 2011. Started the year at Binghamton. A lot of success there. Went to Vegas. Not as much success there. But that's the way it's been for all these Met pitchers coming up. Past the mound toward the middle, and Murphy's got another base hit. His 31st hit against the Mets this year and his 181st of the season.
That ball up the middle. Murph just continues his charge to a potential batting crown.
So he's now hit in all 19 games against the Mets this year. Nobody had ever done that before. And now Bryce Harper bats with 2 out and a runner at first. Harper 0 for 5 in this series. He has drawn 4 walks, but he's hitting just .247 for the year after hitting .330 in his MVP season last year. Murphy at first with 2 out. And Harper hits a ground ball. Cabrera comes in to get it, and that retires the side. So Gesellman works around a couple of hits thanks to a strike him out, throw him out double play. Rene Rivera gunning down Trey Turner. After 1, no score. Second inning, James Loney leads off against Tanner Roark in a scoreless game. Loney 2 for 9 in this series. Both those hits came last night. And he takes the pitch outside for ball 1.
That Loney hit in the he hit in the 7th position. I'm sorry.
Terry Collins going with the exact same starting 8 and batting order for the 2nd straight day. That has not happened often lately.
Loney hit 8th the first game of the series.
And they put the full shift on against Loney, who doesn't really profile as a dead pull hitter. And Roark keeps the ball away from him, and it's 2-1. Roark had to work around a couple of hits, a pass ball and a walk in the first inning, but he got Jay Bruce looking, got a nice play by Bryce Harper on a foul fly ball from Rivera. And Loney lofts one out to center field. Turner looking through the sunglasses, back to get it. 1 out. Let's check in with Steve Gelbs, whose report today is brought to you by your Tri-State GMC dealers. Inside Baseball. Steve?
You mentioned earlier in the game that horrendous loss by the Giants last night that helped the Mets inch closer to the first wild card spot. Another blown save by the back end of that Giants bullpen. 6 blown saves in 10 chances already in September. That leads the major leagues. Last night it was Hunter Strickland, Stephen Okert combining to allow 5 runs in the 9th inning to the Padres. But this Giants bullpen, a major question mark moving forward here. 27 blown saves this season. That is tied for the most in the National League with the Miami Marlins.
One of the reasons the Giants are 20-34 since the All-Star break, after posting the best record in baseball at the All-Star break. Rene Rivera 2 for 5 last night, takes low and away, 2-0.
His first 2 at bats, got fastballs out over the plate, belt high, got 2 hits right up the middle.
By the way, when we talk about the Giants bullpen meltdown last night, let's talk about the other side of the coin too, which is the guy who got the big hit for the Padres, the incredible Jumbo Schimpf, Ryan Schimpf. 19 home runs and only 236 at bats. The Mets got a taste of what that little guy can do in terms of power.
And a ballpark that is not a tiny ballpark. It's one of the bigger parks in the National League.
And he's done an incredible job for them. 2-2 to Rivera. Schimpf doesn't have a high batting average, but with his home run power, his OPS is over 900. And you know, Ronnie's talked a lot this year about all the offense that's come from the second base position around baseball, led by Murphy. But Schimpf is just another guy nobody's really talked about, who's had an unbelievable start to his career. Rivera fouls it away. With that loss, the Giants stay 4 games behind the Dodgers, who got shut out by the Yankees last night. So that's still in play. Those 2 teams still have 6 games remaining. They finish the season against each other in San Francisco. But the Giants have to play better to have any prayer of winning that division or hanging on to the wild card. 2-2 to Rivera, and Rene bounces 1 foul. Well, back-to-back starts for Rivera, who has been routinely catching all of Syndergaard's starts and Lugo's starts, but here he is catching Gesellman today. Travis d'Arnaud just has not produced for the power that the Mets had expected. 229 at bats, just 4 home runs, and Rivera takes strike 3 called. And you know, all things being equal, if d'Arnaud's not going to hit home runs, then the Mets prefer to play the defense of Rene Rivera.
Right, and d'Arnaud has become this year, from whatever reason, a singles hitter, and it's just baffling.
So 2 out and nobody on. Here's Gesellman looking for his first big league hit. 0 for 6. And he takes a strike. Now Roark had first inning troubles all year, an ERA of almost 4.5. That's let him off the hook in the first inning today. His overall ERA for the season, 2.85, is 6th in the National League. He has made 8 career starts against the Mets. He's never given up more than 2 runs in any of those starts. And he strikes out Gesellman to end the inning. 3rd strikeout for Roark. Mets are on 1-2-3 in the top of the second. No score in D.C. What a gorgeous tableau that is of Americana. I don't think the duck is very impressed, but looking from behind the Washington Monument down toward the Capitol.
Well, the duck couldn't possibly comprehend the enormity of the Washington Monument with the Capitol in the background.
All he knows is that he's a free duck.
That's right.
Get to Citi Field for Free Shirt Friday this Friday when the Mets take on the Twins at 7:10. All fans in attendance will receive a Let's Go Mets t-shirt courtesy of Honda. For tickets, visit Mets.com/FreeShirtFridays. Anthony Rendon 3 for 8 in this series, including a home run, 4 runs batted in. He leads off against Robert Gsellman in the home second. So now you've got the pitcher pretty much in shadow. A little bit of sun on home plate.
Well, now it's not the ball's in shadow. It's difficult even when it's in full shadow. What's going to be kind of more difficult is when this little strip of sunlight that's right now running down the third base line. When that gets out in there and it's a quick, all of a sudden the ball pops into brightness for I mean, it's going to be a microsecond, if there's such a word.
There certainly is, a nanosecond, perhaps.
Yes.
Well, the lights are on in the ballpark trying to even things up as much as possible, but there's not much that you can do. And a lot of the brunt falls on the right fielder because the sun here sets to the left of home plate, and that sun is right in the right fielder's eyes.
Well, you can see the shadow of the umpire and the catcher out to right field. So it means the sun is in. Jay Bruce and Bryce Harper are going to have their hands full today, and it's a day where you're going to have your sunglasses on. And you see the shadow.
Not even messing with the flip downs. He's got the wraparounds on. 2-2 to Rendon with Ramos on deck. And the bouncing ball to shortstop. Cabrera to his left, and the off-balance throw picked by Loney, and they get the out. Nicely done on both ends by Cabrera and Loney. One away.
Well, Cabrera is very adept at this throwing on the run, as he should be. It's part of the shortstop, and Loney is a very good scooper. Nice backhand.
Over to work in an ice cream parlor.
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth. I didn't want to be too silly.
Why not? What's changed? Did I lose you? Wilson Ramos takes low for ball 1. Nice to see our in-booth camera got fixed, by the way.
Oh, yes. It sure did. I had to tell 4 or 5 people that it was repaired. Today. Everybody's concerned.
It's amazing how much people are concerned.
Well, it's, you know, when I put my fingers up against the lens, I almost cut my fingers. When
See,
you know,
everything's all better now.
It's all smooth now.
Oh, don't. Just don't.
Well, I didn't hold it. I didn't use this.
Just leave it alone. Okay?
I didn't use my marker.
You've caused enough trouble.
I didn't use my marker.
No, it was the blue marker.
Oh, that's right. This one.
The weapon of choice.
Touche. On God.
Epee. 2-1 to Ramos, who's 3 for 6 in this series. And he takes inside, and Zellman falls behind 3-1. It's not a time of day when you want to be working the edges of the strike zone. You need to attack with the shadows in your favor. Ryan Zimmerman waits on deck. And the comebacker handled nicely by Zellman. 2 out. Let's check out today's Verizon trivia question. Who had the game-winning hit in Game 7 of the 1924 World Series for the Washington Senators? That was against the Giants, right?
Would that have been Walter Perry Johnson days? The big train?
Yes. Was that the World Series of Snodgrass's muff?
I don't go any further with that one.
It's a very famous play in baseball. Fred Snodgrass did not catch the ball, thus the muff. Ryan Zimmerman 2 for 8 in this series. And it's fouled back 0-2. Was Heine Minush in that series?
I have no idea. It's the last time the Senators won a World Series, huh? A championship.
And thus the last time a Washington-based team won.
Right.
Oh, 2 to Zimmerman. And it's too high. 1-2. And Zimmerman slams one foul.
Well, they've finished up all the repairs on the Capitol, haven't they, Gary? All the scaffolding's off. It looks beautiful and pristine. We'll try to get a shot to you folks.
Zimmerman lofts one to center field. Granderson has it lined up. That retires aside. Snodgrass muff, 1912 Giants against the Red Sox. Different World Series.
Look how pretty.
It's very pristine on the outside. Now if you just fix what's going on the inside.
Well, how are we going to do?
MLB.tv Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.tv Premium includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Second time through the batting order for Tanner Roark. Jose Reyes leads off the third and takes a curveball for a strike.
Jose got a base hit on a breaking ball up in the strike zone. A line drive to right field. Got left stranded in that first inning. Mets left the bases loaded.
Slowly hit. Murphy in front of it. And throws out Reyes one away. Six in a row retired by Roark.
There's your two-seamer, folks, as you see right there on the thin part where the seams are closest together. You're only going to get two seams out of that as it rotates.
Looks almost like a one-seamer.
Looks like a orbit of a satellite or something. Very nice. I wish they had that stuff when I was a kid growing up, all this advanced camera work. You remember in the old days when we were kids growing up and the camera was above where we are, up high behind home plate? There was no center field camera. Remember in the old days? Oh, I'm older than you. You may not remember that.
What you're saying is that you were born too soon.
It just was terrible to watch the game up there. Then they finally came with the center field camera, and that changed everything. At least you can see, and boy. But none of this instant replay back then.
Cabrera hits one to center, right at Turner, who barely has to move, and that's the second out. So you're saying you're in favor of progress?
Yes, I am in this regard.
You're no stick in the mud.
In this regard, a lot of things I'm stuck in the mud.
2 out and nobody on. Here's Cespedes, who came up with 2 on in the first inning, hit an infield pop-up. We'll have that strip of sunlight between the pitcher and the hitter, so it's a pitcher's time of day. And Gesellman and Roark trying to take advantage of that.
You know what it's like, Gary? I just had a visual with the way the shadows are right now, with the ball coming out of the shade into the light, into a quick strip of shade, back into the light, and into the shadows again. It's almost like a naval ship that does the communication with the flashlights, whatever they want to call them, does the flippers. That's how it looks coming in. Dark, bright, dark, just boom, boom, boom. It happens all in a nanosecond.
It's like there's a disco ball, and the light is flashing across the mirrored surfaces. But Roark tentative enough against Cespedes that he's fallen behind him 3-0.
Give him a hit sign, maybe.
And that's outside, ball 4. So a 2-out walk to Cespedes, the second one given up by Roark. And then he'll get Granderson to the plate with a man on. Curtis walked his first time up. You know, we talk all the time about how much Curtis loves to swing at a 3-0 pitch, and last night he had a triple on a 3-0 pitch. His first hit on a 3-0 pitch this season, but his 8th over the last 3 seasons, which is the most in the major leagues. There are some hitters who have no interest on swinging 3-0.
When I was younger, I did not. And when I got older and more calm and confident, I did.
Well, I don't think there's anybody in the game who likes it more than Granderson. This time he's behind on the count 0-2. Cespedes at first with 2 out. And Granderson goes down on the curveball to end the inning. 4th strikeout for Roark. On Air Force Day at Nationals Park. Watch out what you do with those. They're dangerous.
Bannett. at the elbow. Look at the fingers close together, the index and middle finger. And that's where it comes out. And then you got that's how the hitter reads it. It's like a moon orbiting vertically over a planet. And then that's how it looks coming in. And you identify the curveball as if you're the hitter. That's how you identify it. Without those seams, it's all white. You're in big trouble. No 300 hitters. No Ted Williams.
Well, somebody's got to hit it. Danny Espinosa leading off the home third. Espinosa 0 for 6 in this series. Espinosa's played in every game against the Mets this year, and in the 18 games he has struck out 29 times, which is the most that any player has ever struck out in a season against the Mets. Part of his 151 strikeouts for the season. Here's the list: Ryan Howard, Rick Monday, Dan Uggla, all good hitters behind him.
Well, Rick Monday in '76. Gosh, was he a Cub back then? I think he was. That would have been the days with Seaver, Kuzman, Matlack. So that's nothing to be shamed about.
Espinosa gets under one to center. Granderson flips the glasses and makes the grab, one away. It's 5 in a row retired by Gazelman. Curtis going with the traditional flip down sunglasses while Bruce wears the wraparounds in right field. The center can be a little dicey today too, depending on how you angle yourself.
I never liked to wear the sunglasses are so much more advanced today. But the flip downs, which we had, I never liked them down, Gary, when the pitcher was throwing a pitch. Because when if a ground ball was hit or a line drive, you're not looking into the sun. But I was very adept at popping those babies down with the balls in the air. Immediately popped it down.
It's all a matter of what you're most comfortable with. Roark flies one out to right. Bruce using his glove to shade his eyes. And that's the second out.
I just figured I'd get him down early. So, you know, there's a glare of a high sky, and you just don't want to get your eyes watering. And you just get that shade, get those things down early so you can focus on catching.
Of course, the other piece is using your glove.
Right. Outfielders more than infielders.
I mean, you could see that with the glove up, how the shadow was right across his eyes from the glove. All part of playing baseball on a sunny day.
Yes, sir. You can see how you use the glove to shade your face.
Turner lines one into right center. That's a base hit. Granderson comes over to cut it off, and Turner, with all that speed, is not going to challenge Granderson. He'll hold it first with a 2-out single. Nicely played by Curtis to hold Turner to one base.
And I must say, Curtis has played a very solid center field. He can still run and cover ground here. And he cuts this ball off, prevents the double.
I thought out of the box that Turner would challenge Granderson on this.
Nice swing from the youngster with the dirty uniform.
So he's at first with 2 out. Jason Worth the batter. With Turner going on a 3-2 pitch, Worth struck out. A strike him out, throw him out double play in the first inning. Turner 24 steals and 28 tries. And Worth takes one at the knees. And Rivera knocks it down, keeps Turner at first.
Every game very important. 17 left. Mets are, if you look at Rivera's numbers, outstanding.
That really is outstanding.
It sure is. That is very good.
You throw out over 30%, you've done your job. And he's over 32%.
That's why he's here. I thought he was, you know, very much his acquisition and getting him here, getting him up here, went under the radar screen. I mean, it was an important guy to join the team.
I mean, think how many players below star level the Mets have brought in since the season began. And he's right in that group. Reyes, Loney, Kelly Johnson, 1 and 2 to Worth.
Boy, Worth just looks like he's in a fog up there. Remember when Worth came over here with all the money and he was struggling in the RBI positions that first year? It was Davey Johnson that came over, was managing, and put him in the 2-hole, and it seemed to take all the pressure off of him. He had a huge contract.
Well, 7 years, $126 million when he came over from the Phillies, where he was always a complimentary guy.
Right.
And he's done better here as a complimentary guy than as the middle of the order guy.
And you got to give kudos to Davey Johnson for recognizing that.
Now 37 years old, still has 1 more year on that deal next season. Zellman's 1-2, and it's foul back.
He's always been a peculiar hitter, peculiar swing, but he's had himself a nice career.
When you say peculiar, you mean
he's a peculiar swinger. He dips. He can look terrible, but he knows what he's doing. I mean, it's just he's not the picture perfect hitter. There's a lot of guys that have their own style, awkward style.
Zellman goes to the slider to strike out Worth. Second time he's gotten Worth. Those were his 2 strikeouts on the afternoon. It's been a pitcher's day so far with the Shadows. We go to the 4th. Mets and Nats, no score. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. We asked who had the game-winning hit in the 1924 Game 7. Earl McNeely doubled home Muddy Rule with the winning run. And Walter Johnson got the win. He went all 12 innings to get the victory in Game 7. Jay Bruce takes curveball outside for ball 1 as we start the 4th inning. Bruce was caught looking his first time up with the bases loaded in the 1st inning. One of 4 strikeouts for Tanner Roark, and that breaking ball bounced foul. It'll be Bruce, then T.J. Rivera, and James Loney for the Mets in the 4th. And we just got a piece of that fastball. 1-2. Caught Wilson Ramos. Roark waiting for his catcher to feel a little better. We're almost as ready to go. 1-2 coming. And Bruce takes it inside.
Was Bill Terry a part of that 1924 Giants game? Was he playing then?
Yes.
Last 400 hitter in the National League, Bill Terry.
Yep, 1931.
Maybe.
Frankie Frisch was on that Giants team.
The Fordham Flash?
Very one. That's pulled into the shift. Zimmerman is there to grab it. Bruce retired, one away. Well, we're talking about the 1924 World Series. John McGraw and Bucky Harris, the player manager for the Senators, on the cover of the program.
Calvin.
President Coolidge on hand. It's great stuff, huh?
Isn't it?
And the fans storming the field after the Senators won Game 7 in the 12th inning.
So now you shouldn't feel so bad, Gary. They did it back in 24. You did it in 69.
And they did not appear to be tearing up the field the way folks did in 69. Of course, it used to be everywhere the fans would go on the field after the game, often exit through the field in many ballparks. T.J. Rivera hit a foul fly that Bryce Harper made a nice catch on his first time up. And Roark falls behind him 2-0. Rivera starting his 10th game in the major leagues. Hit his first big league home run in the 10th inning last night. The first Met to hit his first home run in extra innings since Lasting's Millage. And you'll remember the one that Millage hit against the Giants in 06 at Shea. It tied up the game, and he went out to high-five the fans along the first baseline, which drew the ire of the Giants. 2-2 to Rivera.
Yeah, that was wondering what was his thought process there. I was at that game. I was working that game.
Yeah, I was in the hospital that day.
Is that the day you got they had to carry you out?
It was the day the appendix went south. 2-2 from Roark, and TJ takes just outside. Full count.
Oh, Roark is hot there.
James Loney on deck. C.B. Buckner calling the balls and strikes today. And Rivera draws his first big league walk.
You see
Roark.
Roark.
Last night he got his first home run. Now he has his first walk, much to the dismay of Mr. Roark.
You see his reaction. He is still angry at
Ball
CB.
Ball three.
Would you call it the strike zone? You gave it
the amoeba strike zone.
The amoeba strike zone. You say that affectionately, though.
Nothing but affection. So now 1 out and 1 on. That's the third walk for Roark. And here's Loney, who flied out to center his first time up. And he grounds one down to Zimmerman. The step, the throw. They need to make the tag, but Rivera's there safely. I don't think Rivera realized what was going on. Went in standing up. And fortunate to stay on the bag.
Well, there's a case right there where you got Ryan Zimmerman not knowing what to do on that ground ball. Third baseman, a whole career, moved over to first base a couple years ago because of all his shoulder problems.
I don't think Rivera knew what was going on either.
He doesn't know what to do. Look, he threw a hand grenade. He threw a hand grenade.
I don't think Rivera had any idea that the out had been made at first and that he was safe at second, because he then wandered off the bag afterward.
Got to go in hard and slide. You're right. When in doubt, slide.
He's talking to the second base umpire, Jerry Lane, right now. I don't think that he knew that Zimmerman had stepped on first, so I think he thought he was forced at second. And then he started wandering off the bag after the play was over.
But as a base runner, you've got to realize there's two options. Either the throw comes quickly over your head, and if it doesn't, he's tagged first. Oh, there's an error. So he's looking back. So he knows he's going to the bag here. I mean, look back. I don't understand what he's doing right now.
Well, I mean, he was thinking about turning.
Yes, he was. He thought the throw was overthrown. You're right.
In any event, 2 out. Rivera at second. Rene Rivera at the plate, and they're not going to walk him intentionally. Rene took a call, third strike his first time up.
Slider, slider, slider.
There's one.
I think they're going to pitch around and see if they can get Rivera to swing it. Pitches out of the strike zone. If not, be intent on walking him.
Zellman on deck.
Ooh.
And that one nearly ate up Ramos. Somehow able to knock it down.
Got another slider too, Garrett. Oh, I got him on his throwing hand. Yeah, why even waste time?
Yeah, now they'll intentionally walk him and bring up Zellman.
Yeah, you're just going to take energy out of your pitcher. Give him the pass.
You missed it earlier. Dusty Baker is not here today. The Nats are being run by their bench coach, Chris Spire. Dusty had a death in the family and is away from the team. The last time Spire filled in for Dusty, he was the Reds bench coach in 2012. Dusty had what was called a mini stroke then and missed some time, and Spire filled in for him there.
Chris Spire, of course, came up with the San Francisco Giants when I was in high school. Had a terrific rookie season. I forget exactly what he hit that year, but he just took on the National League by storm. And then his second year had a tough time. It was a shortstop had a great arm, cannon for an arm. Always had the great arm.
Had a long career. He went from the Giants to Montreal. He wound up with the Cubs for a while, and I think he ended up finishing back with the Giants.
Very good friend of mine. Great competitor. A hustler.
So now Zellman, who hasn't shown much inclination to swing the bat, takes a strike. We've seen him bunt. We have not seen him swing. And he tries to push a bunt, and it's fouled, 0-2. T.J. Rivera at second, Rene Rivera at first with 2 out. And strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Roark, and the Mets strand 2 in the 4th. Still no score in Washington. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Planet Fitness, home of the judgment-free zone, by Citi, preferred card of the New York Mets, and by the State Farm agent of the game, John Garfinkel of Brooklyn. Contact John at johngarfinkel.com. Robert Kuzelman, who just took the turn at bat, getting set to face the heart of the Nationals batting order in the bottom of the fourth. Daniel Murphy hit in his 19th straight game against the Mets in the opening inning. More than 8 years after his debut. Lifetime .288 hitter as a Met with 62 home runs in 7 years, and what a difference now.
It took him to his 31st year to really get it, to become the hitter I felt he could become.
Did you think he could be a 25 home run hitter?
Not 25, no, not a nice long, no. But I felt that he could have been a classic third hitter.
Drills this one to left. Cespedes back and snags it. That ball beat Cespedes, and he still made the catch. A seed off the bat of Murphy, and Cespedes somehow able to reel it in. And Ricky Bonus liked it.
Let's see right here. Oh, went over the backside of his head, sliced. Yeah. Oh. That's a little casual, and almost got burned by it.
Well, completely out of his line of sight when he caught it. But able to hang on, and now Bryce Harper takes ball one. Harper grounded out to short his first time up. Even Murphy's outs against the Mets are loud. Conditions starting to improve for the hitters as the shadows make their way through the infield.
This was the old days, Gary. The twilight doubleheader start at 5:30. It's almost 5:30 here in Washington, D.C.
Harper stopped the swing in time. 3-1. This is what you get when you have those postseason games on the West Coast that start at 5 o'clock or 5:30, and nobody seems to get a hit the first 5 innings.
I remember the All-Star game in 1980 in Dodger Stadium, Gary, and ball 4 right there to Harper. J.R. Richards, I believe, started that All-Star game in the shadows of Dodger Stadium, and the American League hitters did not have a prayer.
So Kuzelman issues his first walk of the afternoon. And now Anthony Rendon, who grounded out to short his first time up. Padres just got a run against Madison Bumgarner in the top of the 6th. San Diego 2, San Francisco 1, as they go to the bottom of the 6th at AT&T Park. Cardinals lost earlier this afternoon to John Lester and the Cubs. Harper at first and 1 out. 21 steals on the year.
So I have a question for you. We've got 4-game series coming up. Cardinals flying to San Francisco. Start tomorrow. Who do you want? How do you want that series to unfold?
If you're a Met fan?
Yes.
Well, it depends what you have your sights on. If your sights are on getting the first wild card, then you root for a split. If your sights are just getting in, you root for a sweep. Right? Because if one team sweeps the other, it pretty much makes it simple for the Mets the rest of the way.
Well, the Mets have to win also
to get in. But if you want to get that first wild card, then you're better off with them splitting while the Mets continue to win, and then you bypass them both.
Take care of your own backyard, your own business. Playing the Twins in this game today.
Twins, Braves, Phillies, Marlins, Phillies. That's how the season finishes off. Fastball strike to Rendon, 1-1. Meanwhile, the Marlins are a game under 500. We can head to that last road trip of the season, but they're still a tough team, and they've been scoring a lot of runs the last couple of days. That's hardly a walkover. I mean, nothing is given in this game.
But they're 5 back.
I mean, the Tigers are in the middle of a big battle for the AL Central on the wild card, and the Twins put a hurting on them last night. Twins trashed them 8-1. So,
well, you got 5 teams vying right there. You got Seattle's 2.5. They made a big push here.
They've won 7 in a row.
Yeah,
got a complete game from Taijuan Walker last night.
The Yankees, of course, who won last night, are 2 back.
And facing Clayton Kershaw this afternoon, although that game's now in a rain delay. 2-1 to Rendon, and that just missed the corner. And now it's 3-1 to Rendon.
So there you have it right there. There's 5 teams.
That's with Toronto losing this afternoon. They got beat by Alex Cobb and the Rays. That's a big loss for Toronto. They're now a half game behind Baltimore for the first wild card. Alex Cobb's first win since 2014, coming back from Tommy John surgery.
And that division is by no means over either. Boston holds a 2-game lead.
That's a strike. 3-2 to Rendon, who was on his way to first.
There's the American League East now. That game that is not decided yet.
Well, the Orioles beat the Red Sox last night. That was huge after Boston trashed them in the first game of that series.
Well, Boston can come in and trash you. You know, they got that high-powered offense.
Harper at first and 1 out. 3-2 to Rendon. See if Harper's running here. He goes. Rendon fouls it off. Wilson Ramos waiting on deck. Robert Gsellman, his 4th major league start, his 2nd against the Nationals.
As Gary mentioned earlier, the first team that is getting a second peek at Robert, and he is so far performing well, to say the least.
Harper ran on the first 3-2 pitch. He's running again. Rendon strikes out. Rivera's throw. He got him. Second. Strike him out. Throw him out. Double play of the day. Rivera squared. Rene to TJ. Harper out. Strike him out. Throw him out. Round 2. Keeps it scoreless in D.C. Pair of runners so far today.
Well, watch how he takes the ball from the glove and no wasted motion. You throw from the ear when you're a catcher. There's the exchange. Really good footwork too. The footwork is what it's all about, Garrett. And you know, no extra wiggle with your wrist, your throwing wrist or hand. It's just right to the ear and over the top, so you have a straight throw. And Rene is pretty doggone good at it.
Well, it's the reason why his career has gone the way it has, that he's a good catch and throw guy, and those guys survive a long time in this game, and now getting an opportunity to play more regularly.
Survived longer back in the days when they had three catchers.
Reyes is 1 for 2 today. Had a base hit back in the first, and trying to bunt his way on. He fouls it back, 1-2.
Watch the footwork here. Look how like a cat off that back foot. He's already in position where he's got that left foot in front. So it's just it's all about the quickness.
It's not even a stride. It's just a little hop.
Yep.
Spread his feet wide enough to get the throw. The only time that Rene got to play regularly was a couple of years ago in San Diego. And he was in the minor leagues and available. What's the question here? Did Reyes potentially get hit by this pitch? Mets are not going to challenge. So now it's 2-2 to Jose. So this is the pitch in question. Did it hit his foot? I guess that's the question.
No, it did not. It went over the top of his foot.
And that's at the knees. Strike 3 called. 6 strikeouts for Roark. 1 down in the 5th.
And a very big strikeout for Roark to keep that Jose Reyes off the bases.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Cabrera, who's 1 for 2, singled to center back in the first. Well, the Mets are in a tight playoff race, which means they have no idea where they'll be this season beyond October 2nd, but they do know where they'll be April 3rd next year. Major League schedule came out today. Mets will open at home next year against the Braves on April the 3rd.
They play the American League West next year in interleague play.
Traveling to Seattle, Houston, and Texas. Not to Anaheim or to Oakland.
Which is.
That's lined and caught by Espinosa. Timed his leap perfectly. 2 out. Another bullet off the bat of Cabrera.
Breaking ball stayed back. He's in a groove.
Caught it on the rise. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Cespedes, who's popped up and walked 0 for 1. Just 1 for 8 in this series. Last year in September when the Mets came here, Cespedes was all the rage. Came here for this series off a big couple of games in Atlanta. And he hits this one in the air to left field, and Worth has it measured.
He missed it. It's a hanger.
That retires the side. So Cespedes flies out. We're halfway through in Washington. Still no score. To SNY for a complete game breakdown with behind-the-scenes access, player reactions, and Todd Bowles' post-game comments on Jets Post-Game Live, presented by Toyota, tomorrow immediately after the Jets-Bills game, only on SNY. Wilson Ramos takes inside as we start the home fifth inning. Robert Gsellman has given up 3 hits over the first 4, struck out 3, walked 1. He's gotten a couple of strike him out, throw him out double plays that have helped his cause. Ramos hit a comebacker his first time, and he grounds this one to Rivera. Nice easy hop for TJ. 1 out. Now Ryan Zimmerman, who flied out to center his first time up.
Well, here we are in the 5th, getting 5 strong innings out of Robert Gsellman, Gary. Just another one of these guys are just been plugging the gap and just keeping the Mets where they need to be. We're talking about Lugo, of course. Oh.
I was just going to say he's given the Mets pitching staff quite a pickup.
That's right. Very good.
That's hit hard, and Cabrera can't snag it. Base hit for Zimmerman. Cespedes comes over and cuts it off, and Zimmerman will stop at first with a 1-out single. 3rd hit in the series for Ryan Zimmerman.
Well, fast infields in today's game. That's just sizzles through the infield.
4th hit against Gsellman this afternoon. And now Danny Espinosa, who flied out to center his first time up. We've gone to the 7th in San Francisco. Padres 2, Giants 1. Espinosa plans to leave the Nationals tonight and fly home to California. His wife is due to give birth tomorrow. So his thoughts are split between here and there.
Good slider. Just a little slider. Doesn't take much. As long as it breaks down and breaks late, it gets under the bat. The later that slider breaks, the more effective. Ed Halicki, the Giant starter, I don't know if anybody remembers Ed. He threw a no-hitter, I believe, against the Mets.
The Mets, yep.
Had a very tiny slider.
Double play ball. Rivera with the turn. Gets it to Cabrera. And on to first. 4-6-3 double play. Side retired. So Gsellman with 5 scoreless innings. 2 strike him out, throw him out double plays. And now your routine 4-6-3. After 5, Mets and Nats, no score. Sixth inning, Curtis Granderson leads off in a scoreless game. And takes outside from Tanner Roark a curveball.
I think Roark has a little bit of displeasure with C.B. Buckner back there.
Granderson has walked and struck out today. Roark has walked 4, one of those intentional. He struck out 6. He was particularly perturbed last in the 4th inning when he walked T.J. Rivera. He was incensed about a ball 3 call that he thought for sure was strike 3.
Yeah, he was barking.
And now he's behind on Granderson 3-0 and just looking very perturbed.
And be careful of Curtis 3-0.
Had the triple on a 3-0 pitch last night, and he swings here and it's a rocket right at Harper, who works with the sun and makes the catch. So another hard hit ball on a 3-0 count, but this time Curtis comes up empty. Check out Mets blog for a new episode of Inside the Park with Steve Gelbs. This week Steve talks with Mets reliever Josh Smoker. Hear his inspiring story as he talks about battling multiple injuries and making his big league debut, only on Mets blog, presented by Citi. There's Jay Bruce, who struck out and grounded out. Mets certainly have their share of inspiring stories. Josh Smoker coming back from all those arm problems. T.J. Rivera, an undrafted free agent. These guys not expected to be impact players this year, and here they are. Here's Bruce lining a base hit into right field. Harper thought about throwing to first. That would have been an indignity, but Bruce was hustling.
Off-speed breaking ball. Left it up. It's been hard to come by those base hits for Jay Bruce.
1 out and 1 on. Here's Rivera. TJ hit a foul fly that Harper caught in the 1st inning. Then he drew his first big league walk in the 4th inning. Bruce's base hit, the first hit for the Mets since the 1st. In fact, the first 2 batters, Reyes and Cabrera, each had base hits, and the Mets didn't have another hit until here with 1 out in the 6th. T.J. Rivera, who won the Pacific Coast League batting championship, now translating that at the major league level, hitting .326.
Yeah, and he won a ball game last night.
Tanner Roark, who came into the day 6th in the National League in ERA, 4th in innings pitched.
0-2 against the Mets this year. 2 heartbreak losses. He's wondering, what have I got to do to get a win against this club?
Rivera hits one under the glove of Roark, but right at the bag is Murphy for the step and throw for the double play. Side retired. 4-4-3 on the double play, keeps it scoreless going to the bottom of the 6th. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The pitcher Tanner Roark will lead off against Robert Gsellman. Gsellman had a 5-pitch inning in the bottom of the 5th, and then Roark had an 8-pitch inning in the top of the 6th. And so we move along. Roark takes a strike. He flied out to right field his first time up.
Who's going to blink first?
Meanwhile, the Padres just added a run in San Francisco and knocked Madison Bumgarner out of the game. 3-1 San Diego in the 7th.
They got runners on first and second with 2 outs, the Padres.
Padres won a thriller last night, scoring 5 in the 9th to overcome the Giants. Up the middle, and that's a base hit for Roark.
Wow.
So Roark with his 8th hit of the season. He's aboard to start the bottom of the 6th. We check in with the studio. Doug Williams has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. John Lester now 17-4, and he passed Noah Syndergaard for 2nd in the league in ERA behind his teammate Kyle Hendricks, inserting himself right into the middle of the Cy Young discussion. So now Trey Turner, who's 2 for 2 today. 5 hits now against Gsellman, and the Mets will get the bullpen cranking. Remember, Gsellman in his last outing in Atlanta threw 86 pitches and hit the wall in the 5th. Here he's only at 68 pitches into the 6th. Josh Smoker has begun to throw in the bullpen. And Turner fouls one away, and it's 0-2. There's Smoker. This would be an emotional appearance for him, coming back to the ballpark where he thought he was going to ply his trade when he was a 1st-round draft pick by the Nats. Didn't work out that way. Here's the 0-2, and Turner lays off the slider. 1-2. Now 2-2 to Turner. And you can see Gsellman's velocity beginning to drop a little bit here in the 6th inning. Jason Worth on deck. Daniel Murphy behind him, starting his 3rd time through the batting order. And Turner chases the slider for strike 3.
Good one.
4th strikeout for Gsellman. That's the 1st out of the inning.
Good. As good a slider location as you can put right here, Gsellman. Starts out around 3 inches of strike. That might have been a fastball. I'm not sure.
Might have been a changeup, is what it might have been. 86 miles an hour. Just looking at the grip. So now 1 out and 1 out for Worth, who struck out both at bats. And he takes one on the corner for a strike.
Yep, changeup. Good call, Gary.
One of the few he's thrown today.
Everybody's got that circle change.
1-1 to Worth. Well, we've talked about them often as being such a key during this hot stretch for the Mets. Seth Lugo, Robert Gsellman on nobody's radar a month and a half ago, and they have been phenomenal for the Mets, filling empty spots in the Mets rotation with DeGrom and Matz out. That goes to the backstop, and that'll move Roark to second base. A curveball that got by Rivera, and now a runner in scoring position for the Nats. The first time the Nats have had a runner to second base today.
Under the wickets, and I think Rene is not going to be happy with himself on that one. It's going to be a wild pitch.
First wild pitch in the major leagues for Gsellman. So now Roark at second with 1 out. A 2-1 count to Worth with Murphy on deck, and Smoker getting ready for Murphy.
I got to think this is whether he gets the out or not, Gary.
That's hit in the air to left center field. Hit well. Back goes Cespedes deep in the gap. And he makes the catch at the edge of the warning track.
Willie Mays-esque.
Well, he's made a couple of offbeat plays today. The one behind his head, and now one at the waist. And that's going to be all for Gazelman. And Smoker's going to come in to face Murphy.
Had it all the way.
Yes, he always does, doesn't he?
Yep. Nice job by Robert Gazelman. I hate to see him leave this game. I'm sure he doesn't want to, but these are too important. Got 5 2/3 out of him, Gary.
He did his job today. Kept the Nats scoreless. Over 5 2/3. Now he'll leave it in the hands of Josh Smoker, the former Nationals first-round draft pick. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Scoreless game in the 6th. We'll be right back. Josh Smoker makes his first ever appearance at Nationals Park 9 years after being a first-round draft pick, and his first act is going to be to walk Daniel Murphy intentionally, and he almost threw one to the backstop. I totally agree with this. We were talking off air.
Yes.
Between innings, while the pitching change was being made, you've got to walk Murphy and pitch to Harper the way this year's gone.
Murph is having a tremendous year. Looks like he's on maybe win the batting title. Not for certain yet. 325 against left-handers. Harper's 231. Runners in scoring position for Daniel Murphy with 2 outs, hitting 271 on the year with 48 at bats. Bryce Harper with 45 at bats, 178. So I think you play with the percentages.
And also remember, in the series at Citi Field, Smoker came in and struck out Bryce Harper.
Yes, with that hard slider in the dirt.
So he'll get another crack at him.
Well, another thing too is that Harper has seen him and knows what his fastball does, knows what his slider does, but Harper is not in a hot streak right now. Murphy's been hot all year.
One thing I will say, I hate the idea of bringing a pitcher in to issue an intentional walk. I would have much rather seen Gazelman give the intentional walk and then bring Smoker in. Well, in any event,
here we go.
Roark at second, Murphy at first with 2 down. Scoreless game, 6th inning. And Harper takes a slider for a strike.
Took a lot off that slider.
Harper today is grounded to short, walked, and been caught stealing. Hansel Robles will stay busy in the bullpen with the right-hand batters behind Harper. And Bryce takes that one out of the strike zone.
That was the slider he struck him out on, and he laid off this time.
Josh Smoker, 27 years old, battled arm trouble through independent ball to make his way to the big leagues, and now facing his original organization. And Harper fights that breaking ball off on his hands, and it's 1-2.
And 2 strikes now. I just don't like leaving the hole on the left side of the infield open to Harper. You've got Jose Reyes, who plays on third base very deep. I like where Jose is positioned. I would shade Cabrera a little bit over to the left. Take away that base hit with 2-strike base hit.
1-2. And upstairs with the fastball. Remember, Harper hit that slow ground ball to Reyes last night in the 9th inning that resulted in the throwing error. Ball with a lot of spin on it. Two out, 2 on, 2-2 to Harper.
Ooh.
Oh, got him looking on the outside corner.
Good pitch. Well done.
Smoker comes in and strikes out Harper, who is still lingering in the batter's box. Just threw down his helmet, staring at C.B. Buckner.
Looks like a good pitch to me, Gare. Let's see what he does with the glove.
Dented the corner. Smoker gets the job done. Still no score. The Mets return home for their final homestand of the year. First of 3 against the Minnesota Twins. Jeep Friday Night Baseball, 6 o'clock. Mets and Twins on SNY. For more on the Twins, let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, well, it's been a lost season for the Twins, but not individually for second baseman Brian Dozier. He is having one heck of a year. 40 home runs. That is a new second base American League record, beating Alfonso Soriano, who had 39 in 2002. Only 3 away from tying Davey Johnson for the Major League Baseball record for second baseman in terms of home runs. And it's really been over the last 2.5, 3 months that this surge has taken place for Dozier. 32 home runs since June 25th. That is 11 more than any other player in Major League Baseball during that span.
He is the only Twin other than Harmon Killebrew ever to hit 40 home runs in a season, which is unbelievable when you think about the players that they've had, the Kent Herbecks, the Kirby Pucketts, and all the rest.
And playing at that bandbox of a ballpark that Herbeck and Puckett played in, the old stadium, the Dome.
Not as easy at Target Field. 2-1 to Loney leading off the 7th inning. Well, your city probables, the Mets will face the prospect Jose Barrios, who's really had a tough time of it Friday night with Bartolo Colon on the mound. Seth Lugo against the best the Twins have, Irvin Santana Saturday night, and somebody on Sunday against Kyle Gibson, who pitched a gem last night against the Tigers. It's on the inside corner to Loney, 2-2. The Twins were a pretty good team last year. In fact, they had the same record as the Nationals last season, but this year they're 54-91. And one of the things that happens in a small market like Minnesota, as Loney flies one foul, is that when you draft and you have prospects, they've got to come through for you. And their two biggest prospects were Barrios, who's gotten beat up so far in the big leagues, and Byron Buxton, who was supposed to be the #1 prospect in all of baseball, and his first 2 trials in the big leagues has really struggled. He's hitting .221.
Is he the outfielder? Center fielder, right.
Grounded slowly to the right side. Espinoza playing over there. That's a 6-3 put out for the first out. And then, of course, there's Joe Mauer, who's hurt right now. He's got a quad injury and has, obviously tailed off from what he once was as a 3-time batting champ. And you see where the Twins sit in the American League Central. Worst record in baseball.
They have a good shot to lose 100.
And the other thing for the Twins, they have a staff ERA of 5.15, which is just dreadful. Worst in the American League. Here's Rene Rivera. He takes a slider off the plate. Rene has taken a call, third strike, and been intentionally walked 0 for 1. Michael Conforto has come out on deck to pinch hit for Josh Smoker. Fernando Salas up in the bullpen. There's Salas, who started the 10th inning last night and then gave way to Blevins for the save. 2-1 to Rivera. Roark up to 94 pitches, and the Nats bullpen is getting cranked. Oliver Perez, Blake Trinan up in the Nats bullpen. There's Ollie. It can only be Ollie. 2-2 coming. And that's strike 3 called, a borderline strike, and Rene not happy about that. The latest dissatisfied customer for C.B. Buckner. 2 out. 7 strikeouts now for Roark. And 5 of the 7 have come on call third strikes. So now 2 out and nobody on. Michael Conforto will pinch hit. Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, is going to go to the mound to talk to Roark, make sure he knows the scouting report on Conforto. Michael's made 1 appearance in this series. He pinch hit on Monday night and drew a walk.
14 pinch hits on the year. 3 for 14 as a pinch hitter, 1 RBI.
So Conforto pinch hits against Roark.
Big shift on him on the right side of the infield, which should never happen with the Conforto that we saw in spring training last year and the way he hit last year. That goes to show, I guess they're going to pitch him in and play him for pull.
Conforto 1 for 5 in his career against Roark. 2 out and nobody on. And he's keeping the ball inside. 2-0. We've seen this game plan before, right? Breaking balls away. Hard stuff inside. And now 3-0. Jose Reyes would be next. And Conforto takes a strike.
Oh, they're just staying in.
3-1 from Roark. And Conforto dribbles one. Out to get it is Ramos. The quick toss in time to get Conforto. And that retires the side. Roark sets the Mets down 1-2-3 in the top of the 7th. Stretch time in D.C. Rubber game of the series. Still no score. From humble beginnings to one of baseball's most prolific offensive threats, take a look back at how Mike Piazza overcame incredible odds to become one of the most beloved players in Mets history. Mike Piazza Road to the Hall of Fame, presented by Tri-State Ford tonight after the postgame, only on SNY. And for a taste of what to expect from tonight's show, let's take a look.
To feel that emotion for me is it's just natural. Again, it's overwhelming, and it represents everything that has encompassed me as a ball player from having to work, and that's what these people know, and that's why they come here. And so, you know, to share this with them and to know that for years when I come here with Marco, it's pretty cool.
Well, I've had the pleasure to get a preview of the special that's going to run tonight on Mike, produced by the great Joe Kraus, who does fantastic work for SNY on these documentaries, and this is no exception. You're going to enjoy this. Of course, Piazza taking his place in Cooperstown, and his number taking his place at the top rim of the stadium as only the second player's number retired in Mets history. Fernando Salas will pitch for the Mets in the bottom of the 7th.
And there are his numbers, his Jeep numbers, and he has been phenomenal, actually. He's pitched wonderfully for the Mets.
Anthony Rendon, first man to face him. Last night, Salas came into a tie game in the 10th, or actually with the lead in the 10th, to try and earn the save. Got the first 2 outs, gave up a soft hit to Jason Worth, and at that point, Terry Collins brought in Jerry Blevins to get the final out. He struck out Murphy. But Salas has done very solid work. His 7th appearance now as a Met. And he's yet to allow a run in a Mets uniform. Has not walked a batter in 6 innings since donning a Mets uniform. An up and down season in Anaheim this year, a 4.47 ERA in 58 appearances for the Angels. But he's been right on point as a Met. And he runs that ball inside to Rendon with the off-speed pitch, 1-2. Rendon has grounded out and struck out today, 0 for 2. Wilson Ramos on deck, and then Ryan Zimmerman in the home 7th. And Rendon fouls it back. Robert Gsellman went 5 2/3. Another strong outing for him. No runs, 5 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Josh Smoker came in to strike out Bryce Harper to get the final out in the 6th. And now it's in the hands of Salas. One-two coming, and Rendon leans back from the fastball. 2-2. Two to Rendon. Got him looking. Pulled the string on the changeup to get Rendon for the first out. Some of the Washington baseball history recorded in statuary around Nationals Park. The great Frank Howard. Josh Gibson, who played here in Washington as part of the Negro Leagues, one of the greatest players in baseball history, and of course Walter Perry Johnson.
Side armor.
Who lost 2 games in that 1924 World Series and then came on in relief in Game 7.
Yes.
To get the victory.
The big train.
Over 400 big league wins. Wilson Ramos gets a hold of one deep left center. Granderson just takes a look, but that's long gone. Wilson Ramos breaks up the scoreless game with a long home run, his 21st of the year. And the Nationals take a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 7th.
There's the pitch. Fastball. Salas knew it.
So did Ramos.
No.
First run that Salas has allowed as a Met. So the Nationals finally score first.
Out over the plate, belt high. Hands back. Oh boy, he's a powerful man. Beautiful swing.
Ryan Zimmerman 1 for 2, has a base hit his last time up. Nationals get their bullpen cranking now with a 1-0 lead, and Zimmerman lifts one out to left. Cespedes circles in, and that's the second out.
Contact right on the barrel. Even Rivera closed his eyes. He didn't want to see it.
So now 2 out. Denny Espinosa coming up. Blake Trinan up in the Nats bullpen. Stephen Drew is out on deck to pinch hit. So it looks like Roark is done after 7 scoreless innings, 101 pitches. And now in line for the win, with the Nats having gotten him a run here in the bottom of the 7th on the Ramos home run. Espinosa tops one foul.
Espinosa likes to jerk and pull left-handed.
Salas gave up 9 home runs in 56 innings with the Angels this year. So now 10 home runs allowed on the season. And he gets ahead on Espinosa 0-2. He also gave up 8 home runs last year, so home run ball has been a problem for him. but he had been impeccable up until this point. Espinosa goes down swinging on the changeup. That ends the inning, but the Nats strike first. Wilson Ramos, first pitch he sees from Fernando Salas, and he hit it a long, long way. 21st of the year for Ramos. 1-0 Nats as we go to the 8th. Today's starters, neither one allowed a run. Robert Gazelman for 5 2/3, Tanner Roark for 7, and now the Nats with a 1-0 lead as we go to the 8th. And hard-throwing right-hander Blake Trinan on to pitch for the Nats.
66 game, as you can see, a hard sinker ball pitcher, a hard velocity in that sinker, has induced 17 double plays. That's the most in Major League Baseball for relievers.
Top of the batting order, Reyes, Cabrera, and Cespedes as the Mets try and fight back. Reyes 1 for 3 on the day. The Mets have had only 3 hits this afternoon, all singles. Reyes and Cabrera singled back-to-back in the first inning, but the Mets, after loading the bases with 1 out, did not cash in against Roark, and they never really got another chance. And Reyes lofts one foul, and it's 0-2. Blake Trinan, the South Dakota State Jackrabbit, now 28 years old, in his 3rd season with the Nats. Oh, 0-2 to Reyes, and it's up and away. It'll be interesting to see whether Mark Melancon is available today. Melancon had worked 4 of the last 5 days and even talked about that in the postgame after giving up the home run to Rivera last night. Of course, they could use Sean Kelly to close if need be. And Reyes goes down swinging on the slider. Nasty from Trinan for the first down.
Good slider, good bait slider. Starts out as a strike. You see the ball breaking down. See this little dot in the ball there, size of a nickel.
Now it's Dribble Cabrera, who's 1 for 3, and a base hit in the first, lined out hard to shortstop his last time up. Well, we just mentioned Melancon, and he is up in the bullpen, but without a baseball in his hand. He's faking throwing,
not
actually throwing. Now he's got a baseball. Okay.
was going to say, never seen that before.
Now he's doing it for real. And we used to see that in spring training all the time. Guys making dry throws with a towel in their hand.
Those pitchers are very strange. He has got a great breaking ball today, Treinen, and he's usually his bread and butter is that hard sinker, but he's thrown a bevy of sliders that are breaking on their TV screen from 1 o'clock to 7. It's just wicked.
And he strikes out Cabrera on 3 sliders. Back-to-back strikeouts for Treinen, 2 out and nobody on.
Well, Treinen had a stretch of 40 games, Gare, mid-May to mid-August, where his ERA was .095. That's a heck of a stretch over 40 games.
At the same time, though, if you can lay off those pitches, he walks a lot of hitters. 28 walks in 60 innings this year. I mean, he's getting strikes on pitches out of the strike zone. Now 2 out and nobody on for Cespedes, who was 0 for 4 in his career against Treinen. 0 for 2 in a walk today. Just 1 for 9 in this series. And takes the fastball on the inside corner.
Oh, there's the one guy. Even though you got Granderson, they got the left-hander up in the bullpen. And that'll be for Granderson. But if you're the right-hand pitcher here, you want to get the out, but you're going to keep the ball in the ballpark with Cespedes.
Zepchinski, the left-hander, up in the bullpen.
Notice how I said the left-hander, Gary.
I was very judicious of you.
I was waiting for you to come in with the proper pronunciation.
That's why we're a team here. With your Jeep Mets box score. Mets with 3 singles today. Been a fruitless offensive afternoon so far. One chance in the first inning, but not much since. Now with 2 out and nobody on, a 2-strike count on Cespedes. He gets a slow ground ball. Zimmerman in to field it. Flips to Treinen. Side retired. A very impressive 1-2-3 inning for Blake Treinen in the top of the 8th. Still 1-0 Washington. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Ben Revere pinch hitting for the Nationals against Fernando Salas, who starts his 2nd inning of relief.
Well, Rivera has been designated to the pine at that .216 batting average. Lost the job to Trey Turner.
He lined out to center field as a pinch hitter last night. Salas, after giving up the home run to Ramos that broke the ice in the 7th, gets a second inning of work. Trey Turner on deck, then Jason Worth, so 2 more right-hand batters after Revere, and then Jerry Blevins getting ready in the bullpen for the lefties. T-Mobile brings you greater coverage of baseball. John Lester, 8 terrific innings, 2 home runs from Anthony Rizzo. The Cubs beat the Cardinals 7-0. Luis Perdomo 6 1/3 for the Padres, who lead the Giants 3-1 as they play in the top of the 9th in San Francisco. So good news out of town for the Mets. Now they have to take care of their own business. Down 1-0 in the 8th.
One more crack at it.
Here are the wild card standings brought to you Empire City Casino. With the Cardinals losing, they fall a game behind the Mets, who are a half game behind the Giants for the #1 spot.
Marlins got Fernandez going tonight against Tehran.
1-2 to Ben Revere. Grounded out to second. Rivera in front of it. 1 out.
So the Marlins, if they can get a win, can close to 4. They got the Mets coming up, and they're hanging on the fringes, trying to hang on.
Here's Trey Turner, 2 for 3 today. Mark Melancon is getting ready in the Nats bullpen with a save opportunity in the offing in the 9th after taking the loss in last night's game. In the 9th, the Mets will have Granderson, Bruce, and T.J. Rivera due up.
Rematch.
So potential rematch there between Melancon and Rivera. One and 1 to Turner with Jason Worth on deck. In the air to right, and Bruce is right there waiting for it. No more sun problem out there. 2 out. Coming up tonight at 10:30, Geico Sports Night. We're talking peroxide with Doug Williams. Geico Sports Night, 10:30, SNY. Well, Salas has faced 6 batters, retired 5 of them. The blemish, though, the Ramos home run, that is the difference in this game. Now he faces Jason Worth with 2 out, and Worth hits one out to center field, and Granderson is right there waiting for it. That retires the side. That sends us off to the 9th. Mark Melancon will be coming in to try and save it with a rematch with T.J. Rivera in the offing. Great catches today. Unfortunate calls. Lots of Met fans. And one big swing of the bat by Wilson Ramos. 1-0 going to the 9th. ninth, 1-0 Nats. And pitching for the 5th time in the last 6 days is the Nationals closer, Mark Melancon.
And last night's losing pitcher giving up the long ball to T.J. Rivera. Melancon, a 3-time All-Star, acquired from the Pirates. We were all surprised by this at the deadline, June 30th. He's 11 for 11 in save opportunities as a National.
Last night came into a tie game and took the loss in the 10th. 30 saves for the Pirates, 11 for Washington. He'll get Granderson, Bruce, and Rivera in the top of the 9th. It was Rivera who took him deep in last night's game. And the Mets will try and rally against Melancon in the 9th today. Granderson is 0 for 2 today. He's walked, struck out, and lined out to right. Curtis is 2 for 6 in his career against Melancon, including a home run. Three infielders on the right side against Granderson. Mets have had just 3 singles today. And Granderson takes a cutter for a strike.
No, Melancon likes that slider. And the little cutters or sliders and overhead curveball. Very French name, C-O-N. What it has, what's it called, Gary, underneath that?
Cedi.
Cedi, which makes the pronunciation an S, Melancon.
Well, if he was really going for the French pronunciation, it would be Melancon. Melancon.
Melancon.
Melancon. Like Rolly Melancon, goaltender. But this is Melancon.
Yes.
1-1 to Granderson with Bruce on deck. And Curtis takes the cutter inside. 2-1. Melancon came by that cutter when he worked in the Yankee bullpen alongside Mariano Rivera. And he has put it to good use. 51 saves last year for the Pirates. Curtis pulls one right to Zimmerman for the first out.
Well, you guard the line. 7th inning on, no doubles. Right on that line.
He plucked it out of the air. So it's officially a line drive out. 1 out in the top of the 9th. And now Jay Bruce. Bruce is 1 for 3 today. He has had very good numbers against Melancon. Faced him a lot in the NL Central. 6 for 11 against Melancon in his career. Mets could use one of those. And Bruce takes low and in for ball 1. Bruce had the last hit for the Mets, a 1-out single in the 6th. And now Melancon behind him, 2-0.
Well, one thing's for certain, you got to be careful with that cutter when you're pounding it in. You can't leave it out over the plate. I think he's going to go away here. No, they're going to go back in.
And Bruce fouls it off. Well, it was interesting reading Melancon's comments about how he's had to adjust to working more frequently under Dusty Baker than he did under Clint Hurdle in Pittsburgh. And here he is working for the 5th time in the last 6 days. See how much of an impact it has. Bruce lifts one out to center. Turner has it lined up. 2 out. And so it comes down to T.J. Rivera, who figured Melancon out last night.
Well, he got a hanger right here. Breaking ball that didn't break and left it up, and T.J. turned on it, his first major league home run, and a big win for the Mets.
So how perfect that he gets to face Melancon again. Today T.J. is 0 for 2 in a walk after his 3-hit 3 RBI performance last night.
This is the beauty of the game right here. One of the many beauties of the game.
Down the right field side foul.
I think one thing's for certain, Melanson's going to be very focused on not hanging a breaking ball to TJ.
Two out and nobody on. And Rivera falls behind on the count 0-2.
Two good ones.
Well, he got ahead of Rivera 0-2 last night.
Yes, he did.
Throws a curveball and misses with it. 1-2.
Well, they never die, those Met fans, huh?
Hoping that lightning can strike twice. And Rivera hits a bouncing ball. Big hop for Espinosa. And that'll do it. The Nats win a 1-0 rubber game from the Mets. Wilson Ramos' home run in the 7th inning off Fernando Salas, the only run. Trinan and Melanson clean up behind Tanner Roark, who threw 7 terrific innings. And the Nats take 2 out of 3 from the Mets. The only solace for the Mets today is that the Cardinals and the Giants have both lost. So status quo in the National League wild card race. The Mets stay a half game behind the Giants and a half game in front of the Cardinals as Washington wins this one 1-0.
Well, a good thing is they came here and battled hard in Washington's National Park in their backyard. And another important thing too, a very fine performance from Robert Gazelman, 5 2/3.